Israel and Hamas are fighting again. What about the rest of the world? Hello from Suriname, I'm Nelson Peña Castillo. How that story concerns to Peru. Today is October 14th, 2023. This is Live Connection. Subscribe to my updates, like, comment, and share this content. As much as we know, militants of Hamas, the Palestinian Islamic group, attacked a music concert. This happened last October 7th, 2023, at the south of Israel. The militants of Hamas gunshot attendants. More than 100 were abducted at the same time. Meanwhile, rockets started around to hit Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and the seaport of Ashkelon. After this first strike, Israel counterstruck. Shots were interchanged from that country and the Gaza Strip. At the time I'm posting this, more than 3,000 casualties are reported by authorities and media at both sides. Victims are not only Israel or Palestinian. Just talking of Peru, we have 2 casualties. One of them is a volunteer of Israel's army. Other is a medical doctor living at the south of Israel. Peru's Foreign Affairs Ministry reports 4 missed Peruvians. Other 100 got trapped between the crossfire. At the deadline, the half of them were extracted from Israel. They are safe at Peruvian territory now. The most were for religious pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Here in Peru's territory, the story is mostly seen as something far, not only in terms of geography, but in terms of priority. Peru lives an economic crisis, a citizen safety crisis as well. As many Latin American countries, organized crime overflew the capability of the local authorities, the local force, whether a lack of tactical response, whether corruption. Looking at my followers, few of them are concerned about the developments of the Holy Land. Despite the media coverage, this is not a top story for them. It was not the same in 1991. On January 16th afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, the Gulf War started. As millions around the globe, Peruvians were also attending to the first war broadcast live. The coverage of the Peruvian newscast occupied the big part of the time. Just 4 years later, we lived our own conflict. Peru and Ecuador struggled by a problem because of the demarcation of our borderline. It was a top story the most of time. Actually, it was the first war I covered as a journalist. Well, from a newsroom as a copywriter. The next year, in December 1996, the hostages crisis in Lima City became an international coverage story. It was my first time covering that way on the field. In fact, I was reporting just a couple of blocks away of the residence of the Japanese ambassador in Lima. I remember to be surrounded by the crews of Peruvian networks as America Televisión and Global Televisión, and former Monitor News Channel. My colleague Martin Calderon must remember that we met during that coverage. In my location, there were also crews of NBC, Telemundo, Antena 3, BBC, and CNN. By the way, CNN was the first network reporting the first night of attacks over Baghdad, Iraq, in January 1991. The releasing of the hostages in April 1997 was other international top story. I was not on the field, but I was part of the millions flocked to the coverage. After both events, Peru has not felt a shocking story until the demonstrations end in 2022 and begin in 2023. However, there is a connection with the developments in Holy Land. People directly involved in the conflict became divided in left and right. The most in the middle became a direct affected because of the blockades, the fight, or the curfews. The same in Peru, the same at Holy Land, the same where a conflict breaks out around the world. In every case, my commitment is the same, telling the story. You can be sure about that. Thanks for joining us. Follow the hashtags LiveConnection and Nelson Live. I'm on every social media as @NelsonSuyana. From Sullana, Peru, I'm Nelson Peñarera Castillo reporting. See you in the next Live Connection.